What's going on, it's the Rap Nerd, and if you are part of the rap community, and even if you're not and just living under a rock, K-Dot dropped a new album called Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Being a rap nerd, as you see in my name, I had to cover this. So I gave this album 2 listens because this album is dense with a lot of storytelling, and I feel like it's, for me personally, it's pretty straightforward, but there's so much in the album that you can take it up for interpretation. And yeah, let's just get into it, man. I feel like this album, it's not even a rap album almost. Like it could be called like neo soul hip hop, or it's like Def Jam poetry more than it's ever been. Like Kendrick has definitely, you know, went into these different pockets of music and lanes before, but I feel like here it's even more so in that, you know, that pot with the music at play. Like there are a lot of instrumentals that they don't even have beats. It's just piano. It's just pianos playing, or like some flutes playing. It's just him damn harmonizing or rapping over it. There's like a lot of beats like that. I can definitely say about 40% of the album is just like that, with no kick. It's just music and him expressing himself. And for me personally, I'm gonna go through track, not every track, but just some of the tracks that really stood out to me and like meaning wise. And personally, this whole album is about men. It's about men being real men, being able to look themselves in the mirror, which is a record on there, and understand the mistakes they made and be 100 with themselves to be a better man in general, for society, for their family, for their wife, for their kids, for their girlfriends. It's like a man being a man and what that really means to be a man. It's like peeling back the layers of all of the stuff that men go through, the psyche that men have, a lot of things when it comes to just life in general. And I feel like each track kind of goes into that, you know what I'm saying? It's like a microscope on how men should carry themselves and what you need to do to be a real man, you know what I'm saying? And that's one of the biggest things that I took from this album, and I love that concept of just sitting men down, like, look bro, you wildin' right now. Do you hear this? Like, do you understand? You can put yourself in that position and get what's going on. So without further ado, I'm gonna go through a few tracks just to really harken on what I'm talking about, because I really feel like, for me personally, that's what I got from it. It's about men. First track, United in Grief. Again, it's a record that doesn't even have like a kick in it. It's just kind of bass and just music flowing, and from that point on, it sets the tone. And I feel like this record, he's really speaking on the fact of like I said, how he grieves. And but the irony is, the whole record is just talking about him flexing, buying shit, paying for this, buying Keem 3 cars, paying for his hood to do something, giving his wife blah 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 blah. He's just flexing to get through the grief, and a lot of men do that. We definitely do that. Instead of just sitting down and talking about our emotions, we just be like, you know what, I'm about to buy 6 bottles tonight. Or you know what, I'm about to order the new Yeezys or the new Jordans. You know what, I'm gonna get fresh, because that's how I'm gonna get through this shit. And I feel like that's 100% what this song is about, and I really love the content that he presented in that song, period. And then it flips over, which is a great segue into the next record. I think it's North 95, if I'm reading that right. And that whole record is just, from the jump, he's telling you like, what, without all of that shit that you just bought to grieve, what are you? And on the hook, he's just like, you ugly as fuck, you know what I'm saying? And the whole song is just about that concept of like, if all of that was missing, what do you have? And I like that this record adds the, you know, the kick drums and that beat to it that you can kind of bounce to kind of take you out of that, you know, mellow vibe of the first track. And this album does it a lot. It like jumps from like, one song is kind of mellow, next song is like, you know, you can flex to it, next song is mellow, next song is mellow, flex record, or just something that's more upbeat. I really like how that was presented. Worldwide Steppers to me is kind of a song about men just being on go mode all the time. It's kind of like just, especially black men. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know as black men, we are often like radar up, and you can even kind of hear it in the beat, how subtle and how like the beat sounds very dangerous until it flips over for that split second and back. Like, I just feel like he's speaking to the dangers and how we have to be on go mode all the time. And it also presents the negative in that, you know what I'm saying? Because being on go mode all the time, ready for a threat, can kind of put other things to the side that really need attention, like your family, you know what I'm saying? So I really enjoyed that. Then we get to the next record, Die Hard, and I feel like it's him speaking to his lady, you know what I'm saying? Like, or it's speaking to his lady, but it's also gonna be metaphorical for anybody else that's around him that's in a circle. Like, you go hard, would you, like, you know, ride or die is pretty much what that song is. But it's presented in such a, you know, a happy-go-lucky way, because that's something I feel like that you want to hear from the person you're asking this from. So I like that it goes from that real sense of danger to being more upbeat and kind of playful, knowing that you have people who are like have your back. I think that's a really dope segue. And then from that record, it goes to Father Time. And I really enjoy this record because Kendrick is talking about the relationship with his father. And a lot of times people, you know, talk about not having a father in the picture. That's the only thing we see. But they don't understand that a lot of us had fathers in the picture, but the way they raised us, it kind of fucked us up in a sense. Like, you know, him speaking about just his dad kind of breeding toxicity within him. You know what I'm saying? I just don't hear that being said a lot. Like, you know, people who have dads just kind of, you know, it's just in society, if you had your dad, you're blessed. If your dad was around, you're good. If you know your dad and you can see him, you're good. But they don't understand that sometimes that toxicity can be bred through your pops and what he's presented. So I really enjoyed that record. And then next it goes into Rich with Kodak Black rapping, and I love how Kendrick decided to put the keys under, you know, Kodak's verse to make it sound way more poetic. Like, if that was on the trap beat, people probably wouldn't even look at it the same. It would be considered just like some hood shit. But the fact that it's over that beat with the pianos, and then it kind of goes into, like, you hear some sound like and you've heard it on the other records. And I just love, I forgot which record it happens, but it goes into and it says stop tap dancing around the subject. And that's pretty much what Kodak's verse is doing, you know, on this, you know, on my mama shit, do it for Mama Dukes, nigga, you know what I'm saying, shoot niggas, sell drugs. And it's like, you tap dancing around what really matters, man, like what's really needed. So, you know, then you get to the song Rich Spirit, and it's just, again, it's more braggadocious, egotistical, like, I made it to my success, so don't test me. But I'm like, again, it's another wall that men put up. I've succeeded, so, but I have the power to do things, and sometimes I don't necessarily use that power to the best of my ability, but this is just what I know. And then it goes to one of the next standout records, We Cry Together. This right here was disturbingly artistic and intense. It's him and his girl just going back and forth, yelling at each other, cussing at each other. The hook is just F you, F you. And I really hope people in toxic relationships can listen to this song and have a view from outside looking in at how crazy this shit sounds. Like, this sounds nuts. The performances on this record are ridiculous. You can hear the pain in, what's his name, Taylor Page's voice. You can hear the tears in her voice. You can hear Kendrick being fed up and being like a typical dude who's just like acting like he ain't emotionally attached. Just like, man, shut up. And then I love how at the ending it switches to like, no, F, I'm gonna F you. Yes, F me. And it's just brilliant song. Brilliant song. Oh my God. Killed that shit. And then transition to Purple Hearts, and I feel like the Purple Hearts is this, that it is just a, it's a makeup sex song. That's what it's about. That's why it's all gleeful. And I think there's even some lines when she's telling like just shut up and do me or something like that. I forgot what specifics being said, but perfect. And then it goes into, next is Count Me Out, and it's more of a record. I gotta listen to this a little bit more, but from what it sounds like, it sounds like being the man equates to being the head of the household. And even though it's saying count me out, the gist of it is count on me to get things done. But in a sense, putting all that weight on my shoulders is making me absent where I need to be at, which is the count me out part. So again, the duality of this is just how I picked it up. Now, if you don't agree with none of this, cool, but this is just my perspective, right? Crown is another song about, you know, trying to play God, and you end up sacrificing yourself. You sacrificing pieces of yourself for others, and good ways and negative, you know. I think it plays both sides. Sacrifices just comes with that. And, you know, the crown being a signification of God, you know, in Jesus, how he has the crown on his head in the album cover. So that's what I got from it. And then next, my favorite joint in the song, Silent Hill. I love this, like, and it just goes again with the sacrificial part of it. Like, you know, you come home and you've been working all day or whatever it is, I just want quiet. I don't want to hear shit. Like, push these niggas like, whoo, just like, whoo. Like, that is my joint. It has that specific bounce to it. This is gonna be a single, I can guarantee it, because it has that bounce and the hook is playful, but the underlying meaning of it is just like, hey, I just need some quiet time after what I just was out here doing for my family. You know what I'm saying? And then Savior is kind of similar to Crown, where it's like, what are you gonna do for me for doing this? And again, this is something that men also have a problem with, especially when it comes to their relationships. It's like, I did all of this, so what are you gonna do for me? When in actuality, you shouldn't be doing anything, expecting something in return. And then another one, great storytelling song, Aunt Diaries, where he's talking about his aunt as an uncle, and, you know, making that transition, which is crazy because there are a lot of people out there whose aunts are pretty much, you know, they're gay and dressed like dudes. And black families, we just kind of let it go. We're just kind of like, well, you know. And then he even gets to another verse where he's like, his cousin is gay, and how the church and how the family treated him. And that to me is just like such a real story that a lot of people, you know, in our community don't want to talk about. And just kind of let it be. But, you know, it is what it is right there in front of you. Like, phenomenal writing. I love how it was written. And then Mr. Morale, I think, is about a spiritual awakening. That's what I feel like. I feel like it's when you start to kind of get yourself together and understand more about yourself as going through this journey as a man. I feel like that's what it's about, because he's talking about, he literally said spiritual awakening, but my mind is asleep. I think that's 100% what it's about, you know. That's how I took it. Next record, I literally said I'm not going to go through every record, and I'm going through every single record, but I just feel like that's the best way to convey how I feel about this music. And the next is called Mother I Sober, and that is gut punch of a song. It's literally him sitting down and talking about the trauma and abuse that he went through as a kid, and how he never really addressed it, and how he just used everything on this album prior to shield that big problem. That's why it's at the very end. It's like, all of this shit right here, this is the root of that, and you need to address it. And I feel like it's kind of, and I look at it, it's like a therapy session. Like, for once you actually fess up to yourself that you need therapy. You need to talk about these things. You need to get it out there so you don't keep harnessing this anger and pain that a lot of us black men do. So that's what I feel like that one is. And then we get to the last record, Mirror, which I feel like is finally admitting to all of the stuff prior to the album, to where you can look yourself in the mirror and look at other people, and it's a reflection of yourself, and you're like, I admit it, I chose me over you, I'm sorry. And again, that's why it's in the hook, and I just feel like it's painted so brilliantly, man. Like, and again, this album is incredible. It's another artistic masterpiece in Kendrick's discography. But with all that said, I don't know what the replay value is going to be like for this album. You know, while I do think it's great lyrically, I think the beat choices are awesome. I think the sequencing is great. I don't. Again, the replay value to me is not going to be there because of the thematics in the album. And it doesn't mean it's bad. So I don't want people to think like, oh, I hated it, I'm never going to play it. No, I'll play it again, but it's not an album that you just can throw on. And I feel like hip hop, we need those kind of albums anyway. We need these albums that are like, boom, that you can revert to. Like, if somebody tries to question, like, what's art? This joint right here, peep this. This is what you talk about. I don't want to hear you say nothing about it. That's why I respect Kendrick so much, because a lot of his albums, not a lot of his albums, let me not say that, but there are some that are more, you know, easy on the ear to just throw on than others. And I feel like this one goes into that category of like, it's packs so much in it that, and again, the beat choices, like for me, the rhythm of listening to this album is kind of like a roller coaster. And personally, I like to throw some joints on and just be able to kind of rock out to it on an everyday basis. And this one, you can't necessarily do that with it. And I get it, it's artistic choice, you know. Kendrick, nothing bad about to say about this brother, man. Like, incredible album. So that being said, that's my review for K Dot's new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So that's what I feel about this album. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What's your favorite track? I think my favorite track again is Silent Hill. What is yours? Leave a comment. And if you like my content, like and subscribe. And until next time, peace. RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.